guys, welcome to another episode of TMI with Michaela, and I have a few special people here today. First of all, you guys already know Tony Lopez. We have her here in the room.
Hello. Good afternoon, and I'm glad to be back. Thanks for having me.
Mahalo, hello. All right, and we have a special guest. You guys never seen him here, but he goes by Barney, aka Sugartone.
What's going on, everybody?
All right, you guys. So this is actually some of the team for Mahalo Halo. So if you guys don't know yet, that is on April 29th. Do you want to give some information about that real quick?
Yeah, so the days are, kind of counting down. We have about 10 days left. Mahalo Halo LV is going to take place Container Park, 12 to 8. We look forward to having everybody show up. It's a free event. It's family. Come grab some good food and just listen to some, good talent. And yeah, it's going to be a good day.
I'm excited.
Yay.
So, for those who do not know, Sugartone, actually, he does a lot of different things. I was just learning about all of them.
Right.
So he is an artist. He's a DJ. He is not a singer, but
Entrepreneur.
Definitely not a singer.
he's an entrepreneur. He's doing all of it. So what is everything that you're doing? Tell us more about your art.
So my background, I'm actually, I've been a professional guitar player for the last decade or so, all around Vegas, and did a lot of touring and stuff. And got into the DJ world, I'd say within the last year and a half or so.
Oh, snap.
And so I've been DJing around Vegas quite a bit. And when I do my DJ sets, I mix together the DJ side and the guitar side and kind of do a little bit at the same time. So we do that. And then I also am the owner and one of the sponsors for Mahalo Halo. I'm the owner of Vintage Del V. We are located at the Container Park downtown on the second floor. And we do upcycled and reworked vintage. So a lot of like shirts that you see in the store, they're all hand dyed and reworked, all done by me.
Dang.
Upcycled is the word. Upcycled is the actual fancy word. But
We have a lot of creatives in the room.
There are, and it's so cool because I think with his, his music and the shirts and things that he does sell at Vintage, it's complimentary. So it's like,
Yeah,
cool,
yeah,
right?
that's nice.
It's a vibe for sure.
You're a vibe.
It's a vibe.
What did we say earlier? I am the stage. Is what
I
he said?
am the spot.
Oh, I am the spot.
What's happening?
So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about behind the scenes of business, entrepreneurship, entertainment. So for those who do not know, Tony, she actually has a lot of experience when it comes to productions, and she's an entrepreneur too. Don't even give me the list. The list for both of you guys is like crazy. So Tony, you want to give some insight on what you do?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, first and foremost, we do have a company called Nine Doors Down. I already plugged that a few times, so I'm kind of like, I should just get out. But I'm also a realtor, and this summer we're going to start my production company, Take the Stage Arts. I'm going to bring back the arts to my youth, and that will be, taking off as of June 1st. So This is official. I'm putting it out in the universe. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we can get a good enrollment and we can put on a really good production. Barney will also somewhat be involved in that because he is an artist. So his music is going to be, a part of the whole picture. But also, it's just, production is my background. I was a producer for 17 years in television and films. So it's just, it's second nature to me. So everything that we put together is just, through love and the passion. And, once it starts becoming work, then I'm cut me out. I'm down.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cut me out.
Cut me out. I'm done. I don't want to be a part of it because it becomes work, and then you don't enjoy it as much. And I think that's what's important with, having your own business. Once it becomes, a chore.
Yeah, like a responsibility, something that you don't want you're not having fun with anymore. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how did you guys end up going in these routes? What were you doing before all of this?
So I worked in corporate America for about a decade. I worked in corporate sales. Was doing that and then was playing the guitar. And then I got lucky to where I was pretty decent at it and people wanted me to play guitar for them. it just started happening. And then the goal was always to eventually be able to transition from working a full-time job to just playing music full-time. And really worked at that for a good, just almost a decade, really.
Dang.
And then it just all kind of, it's just funny how it all works out. You know, COVID just spearheaded a lot of things for a lot of people.
Is that when it all unfolded for you during COVID?
Yeah, absolutely. COVID is when I turned my hobby of upcycling clothing into a business.
Nice.
It was literally, I told my wife, or my girlfriend at the time, I told her, I think I'm going to start doing these shirts again. And I just randomly did like 50 shirts, put them on Instagram. They sold. Then we just started picking up traction, and then it just kept growing. So, so my life took a turn professionally into that route. And then the music has always been a part of me, just whether or not I was going to pursue it or not, but it's always been a part of me. And I've just been really lucky to be able to do it as a job now. So it's literally my day job. Like I'm playing, like, you know, you can catch me around Vegas a ton. Yo, follow me on Instagram. You'll see my
How can we
schedule
find you?
Shikatone Music on Instagram. I post my schedule. I have a couple residencies, and then when I'm not there, I'm at the store.
He's everywhere.
And then when I'm not there, I'm in the backyard making t-shirts. I'm just kidding.
And is your guys' head somewhere else while you're right here? you're like 10 different places
Oh
at
yeah,
one time.
it's we were just talking about this in the car. Like when you the more advanced you kind of get, you go within your business journey or your entrepreneurial journey. Excuse me. You have to like learn to delegate, and and that requires you to not be there as much, or for you to not be hands-on, and you got to trust people to be hands-on.
Yeah.
And it's scary. Like I'm just starting to do that now. And
but I feel like you have a good team.
we have a great team.
Yeah.
I have a terrific team of friends and
Good job, you guys.
family that help out, you know what I'm saying? But like at the end of the day, it's still, you know, I would equate it to like if I had a baby and me and my wife are gonna go out for the first time since the baby was born. You gotta leave her with the babysitter. You'd be free.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like, you know, that's how I would imagine that it's like. But I guess the other thing it's funny you mentioned the thing about work, because for me, I think I was actually just having this conversation with myself.
You talk to yourself.
I like that you talk to yourself, because I do that all the time.
I talk to myself. And
I argue with
I think-
myself too. Girl, what?
What are you doing now?
my insight on being a business owner and being self-employed is that it doesn't stop. It's actually more work. It's more of a liability.
Yes.
It's more of your time. It's more of your money without a guarantee of a return.
Yes.
And my thoughts is that being able to get to a point, I'm like, you look back and we're really blessed to be healthy or to have a job or to have a business, whatever. And for me, my perspective is, this is like, so I worked 20-hour days this weekend. I worked 20-hour days, dead tired. And, you know, I could have easily just been like, I should just take the weekend off. And that conversation I had with myself was, this is the dream. Like, yeah, working these 20-hour days is the dream. This is what I worked for the past decade to get to this point. And I think when you think about that some more, like, the more you're able to flourish and do your own thing, the more control you have on what you work hard on. Because we're gonna work's always gonna be there no matter what it is, at least in my mind. But now I have the ability and the control to be able to say, that's what I'm gonna work hard on. And to me, like, that's what makes this all fun.
What were some of your fears getting into business?
My fears?
Or yeah, both of you guys.
Well, you go first.
You know, honestly, I'm not a fearful person. I'm, you know, being the eldest of my entire family, it was like, it's natural for you to be in survival mode. So it's always searching for the solution. So I'm constantly not looking for a problem. It's like, well, there's a problem, there's a solution.
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever it is, it's your business or family or health, right? So yeah, I try to navigate around the problem so that it's not causing anxiety. But of course, the unknown is always the fear factor, right? So with any business, it's always financials, right? So you want to look at the bottom line and make sure that you're in the green. But if you're not in the green, how can we get to the green? And what energy are you going to put toward what avenue so that you can get to that goal?
Absolutely.
But yeah, the fear is never takes over. It's almost like, okay, we got this. Like, yeah.
I think they're more just like obstacles. Like earlier, actually, for those who don't know, we had some difficulties even right before the show. And actually, it was Tony that was like, okay, let's find a solution. Don't worry about the issue. We'll make it work. So, and it's true what you were saying earlier, because that was my problem. Like, I want to do it all, right? Like, I want to be able to make sure, oh, okay, it looks clean. And then I want to also be the one to promote it properly. And I also want to make sure it's built properly. So it's like, I think everybody like in business, they want to do it all, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to delegate and trust people because you can't just get people to, like, you can't just pay people to carry out your business. Like, you have to have people that you could fall back on. Because let's say if there's something that's inconvenient, who's going to be the person that's going to go out of their way and put themselves in your shoes? Because a regular employee is more of like, well, that's not my job. That's not my responsibility. You don't pay me enough for this. And that's they have their rights to believe that, and that's true.
And I think that's the conversation we were having, is the mindset. Like, you have to have people, not only for yourself, your mindset has to be in that space, and then share that with your team. And I think Barney, like, hit the nail on the head, where you have to have your trusted team. Otherwise, you're going to always be in your head, like, what am I doing wrong? How can I make a process? Or
I mean, I get it, because when I worked in corporate America, all I could think about was, what am I going to do as soon as I get out of here? And, and dare I say, there's a few careers that I had that I hated, but I love the paycheck.
Yeah.
sure.
And so, for me, like, it's in my mind to run my business in a way that, like, hey, if you're going to work for me, like, I know this is not ultimately where you're going to land, but I want to make sure that the time that you spent while you're working with me is worth your time. And if it's worth it to you, it's going to be worth it to me.
Yeah.
And that's how I like to think, because I'm not about hiring disgruntled people, or, you know what I'm saying, like, people that are just they're just babysitting a store.
Here for a paycheck or something.
Right. I mean, ultimately, let's be real. We have to take care of ourselves and our families and our obligations and whatnot.
Yeah.
And we spent the most of our lives with people that we work with rather than our families. So, I know I'm a small footprint. My store is a small footprint, but my mentality is, if you're going to work for me, it's not going to be the most money, but it'll be the greatest, in my mind, the best value for your time. And hopefully, when you transition to something else, you can look back and be like, all right, that was cool when I worked at Vintage Del V, or this is what I learned when I worked at Vintage Del V. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
In terms of fears, I think my fear is failure. It's not, maybe if you would ask me this question a year or two ago, it would have been financial. It would have been like, oh my God, I'm going to spend all this money to fund this thing. What if I don't make a dime back or I lose it all? Don't get me wrong, that's still in my head. But it's not a fear. It's not something I think about. And the reason is I learned really quick and really hard that the grass is not greener. There will be days where, if I'm working at the store or I'm working on music and I'm like, God, I hate this. I don't want to be here. I wish I could just go back to this or that. And then I think to myself, I remember those days where I was sitting in an office staring at the clock until 5 o'clock, literally 5 o'clock. As soon as 5 o'clock hit, I was out. And I wasn't even like, I didn't have to clock in. I was on salary. 5 o'clock hits, I'm getting freak out of here. I'm sorry, I can't cuss.
You didn't cuss.
Okay, cool.
Is that a bad word, freak?
No, I saved it. Hit the bleep button if you.
Okay, you gotta keep.
But
Here, Tony and I will be
Ready,
there.
but the grass isn't always greener. It really isn't.
It's where you water it.
Yes,
right?
it's where you water.
It's where you
it.
water
I
it.
got some fertilizer. You want some?
She took a dump or something.
That's another show.
So because of that, it's a fear of failure. And going back to my point of, I think the success story in opening up a business or being self-employed is being able to pick and choose where and when you want to work hard. And 'cause when you can do that freely, then there's no way that you're not going to put 100% of whatever it is that you're doing into whatever that is.
I think also what gets people going, like I feel like once you already got your feet wet on whatever you're working with, and you see like, oh snap, the potential is here. I think it just pushes you to keep on going. Like
Absolutely.
And then I feel like, because sometimes too, for me, I'm like, shoot, what am I doing? Is this really gonna last? Like, can I really build this thing? And then sometimes I think about it. God already brought me so far. Like, really, you're gonna throw it away because you freaked out or people aren't supporting you? What do you guys have to say? Because really, our business is because of our supporters in whatever way that may come up. Yeah. So, were there ever a time when you guys got hit where, shoot, nobody's supporting me? Where you got discouraged? What were the discouragements that came?
Not anything about people in general not supporting. I think I got pretty lucky in terms of like the proof was in the pudding with the products that I was putting out. Even with the music side, I just knew that I was like, whatever. I mean, we're all gonna have our bad days. We still have our bad days. Like, you know what I'm saying? And in terms of discouragement, it was a little bit of discouragement of like, do I really want to? And I still have that. We all have that, I'm sure. Like, do I still want to do this? And then you think, okay, well, what's the alternative?
I don't like the alternative.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this.
Right.
So like, that's there's no, I think if you set yourself up correctly, you leave room for the great days and you leave room for the not so great days.
But I think
then you'll take everything in between,
Like, because it's title, talent, and business, it's like your talent is your business.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's like you're battling your own doubts, right? And to your point is like, there's no discouragement or there's no not supporting. You start off with family and friends, right? We had this kind of small talk. You start off with friends and family, and then once that talent rolls over into people that are not in that cipher or in that sphere, then you're like, okay, then my product speaks for itself. I don't have to convince people that it's worth this or that. My family and friends supported me, but now it's out in the public to complete strangers, and it's now an actual business.
Yeah.
So actually, we were just talking about this earlier because, so I had my own idea about, like the hashtag support small businesses, and you would hear audio reels about people saying, oh, don't question my prices, don't question my services, you won't question Louis Vuitton, so why would you question me charging you all this? And this is my honest opinion, and this is just my point of view. So what I think about that is, I don't want anybody ever buying from me out of like feeling bad for me, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want people supporting me because, oh, she's a small business, you should be supporting small businesses. Because you should be having yourself in the mindset, like, how can I perfect my business? I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect business, but you should be putting yourself on the same standards as the other businesses who are established. So, like, for example, there's some businesses, they expect you to support them because they have all of these, because they're a small business. But the thing is let's say they're a health or beauty product, but like they're cleaning, or they're just like, there's the sanitary of how things are being processed and stuff, like it's sloppy. But then they expect you to put in all this money, give them the same acknowledgement that you're giving Sephora or something like that. Yeah. So it's more of like, you should want people to buy your products because it's good quality, because of how management is being ran, because of the efforts that you're putting in. Like, if there's something that you're slacking in, you have to be honest with yourself and fix that.
Absolutely.
So that was one of the things that we were saying, because I remember in the very beginning, so before I started doing marketing, I had my own clothing business, and I was going to events, like pop-up events, like what you were doing. And I remember for me, there was a long time where it was just my friends and my family that was supporting me. And I'm very, very grateful. Thank you, everybody. But then there was a time when I got a random a random sale from like a whole nother city, and then that was the point where I was like, wow, people actually likes my stuff. So
Yeah.
I feel like that should be the goal. Well, not everybody's goal, but I feel
Yeah.
like if you could do that and you can make a name for yourself
Yeah.
without people feeling bad for you, then
No,
do
I think
it.
you need to be a solution. And
A need.
This is absolutely, and like I thought this is some insight that I picked up from one of my favorite designers is that, and this guy is like luxury streetwear, $500 t-shirts, $1,000 jeans, and he's like, no, my mentality is to be solutions based, and so that I've kind of shifted just the way I look at business and my products and what I do kind of to that is solutions based. I mean, I will say since COVID, I think COVID humbled a lot of people. Obviously, for many reasons, it humbled a lot of us to where we can be a lot more grassroots and we can leverage that a little bit more. So there's a balance there, I think. I mean, before I had the store, I literally was selling T-shirts out of a storage unit. I took
The good old days.
I took a 10 by 10 storage unit. I decorated it with posters, and I told customers, come by my shop.
Yeah.
Where's your shop at? Oh, here's the address. They call me up. Why does it say storage? I'm in front of a storage facility because that's where my shop is. And there's a charm, and that was when, that was at that time during COVID when everybody's trying to figure it out as both as businesses and as consumers. We're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And you can really land onto like the small business element of like I lost my job, so I started doing this or that. Like I was fortunate to not lose my job right away, but when I did, and I knew it was gonna happen, I was like, all right, buckle up, let's go. And this is it, So, but yeah, I think when you build your product, I like to use the term bulletproof your business.
I like that term.
When you can get to a point when you can bulletproof your business, there's going to be so many people that make clothing. There's so many people that make shirts. There's so many people that do this or that. But when you can differentiate whatever it is that you do and say, yeah, but this is what I do. And this is why this is the solution to whatever it is that you need. Then you can get going.
And there's also the beauty in like you being able to diversify your talent.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to be a master of this trade. Well, what if that trade is no longer needed? What are you going to do after that? So I think it's really important to specialize in certain things, but also diversify where your talents are. You can curate stuff. So, for example, he does music and he also does his upcycled shirts. You do marketing, you sing, you can host, you can dance, you can...
You can dance. Don't make me dance. She can
I
dance,
sing, you
yeah.
dance. But you know what I mean? So in our
Yeah.
era, especially now, it's like you get hit with this, pandemic, whatever. It's like, what are we going to do when you are up against the wall? You have to be able to shift your energy into something, right? So creativity is key, especially with the youth now. It's like there's so many options to success. There's not just like, hey, go to school, graduate and get a good job. No, your job is not secure anymore. Sometimes the next person's just going to take over. So anyway, food for thought.
Yeah,
So I am. Go ahead.
I was gonna just piggyback off of that. Like, people. I think gone are the days of. I don't want to say specializing, but you're gonna see a lot more people kind of popping out and doing a bunch of different things. And that's a lot of it was out of that was out of necessity.
Yeah.
10 years ago, all I wanted to do was be a full-time guitar player and not have to work for corporate America anymore. Fast forward to 2 years ago, my living is based off of selling old T-shirts that I dye and DJing and playing the guitar.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and like
Okay.
no, but like
Yes.
no. But the thing is like I never
My
like
toes are snapping too.
I never thought. No, thank you. But I never thought that like that was never in my plan.
Yeah.
That was not my plan. And I think about it, if I didn't think about just being a DJ, then that's a big chunk of that's a big chunk of a living that I would have missed out on.
Yeah.
And so like it's kind of like, to Tony's point, realizing what you are good at, what your talents are, what keeps you creatively motivated, and synthesizing how to turn that into a living or a business or whatever it is.
You know, honestly, you can make money out of anything. So it's up
For
to
sure.
you what you want to go
This
after.
day and age, we're in the social media era.
Yeah.
This era didn't exist when I was in school. Well,
Tell
definitely
me,
when you were in
what
school.
year were you guys
Excuse
born
me.
in?
I am in the room. Are you talking about me?
Yeah, 'cause well,
He ain't talking about me, girl.
you are my ate. So,
Well, Kuya, your hands over there too.
so
But
I
you
mean,
know
there's-
what?
yeah.
Quality. Okay, I know that we're all replaceable. That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
But craft is not replaceable. Like you cannot like the uniqueness of Sugar Tone, the uniqueness of you.
no art.
Sugar.
Sugar.
I
I said Sugar Tone.
I'm kidding.
She's Filipino. She's like sugar. Sugar tone.
But it's like, for example, like if you're a barber, right? Everybody could cut hair, but can everybody cut hair like how you cut hair? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody could come out with a clothing business, but can everybody have the uniqueness like how Barney, forget Sugar Tone, how Barney does it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can anybody produce the same type of shows, the same type of quality, the same type of talent, the same type of energy that you're going to produce? You feel me? So
feel
like
you,
that's
girl.
something that you can't just put a price on or
Yeah.
like an application on. So before we end, I know that you are in talent. You were behind the talent industry. If there is a goal that you guys want to fight for when it comes to artists performing, what would that be?
Go ahead.
If there was a cause that
Or
I
an
could,
advocate or whatever.
that I could be advocate for, it would be and I don't know how to put this into like a term. It would be I just want people outside of this industry to look at artists like, I want them to value their traits, their talents, the time that they put into refining their traits and talents, and not downplaying the monetary value behind it.
Right.
Like, can I cuss on this show?
Ring, ring, ring. Okay, go ahead.
Bling, 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 bling.
All that bullshit. Where's the camera? All that bullshit about exposure. No,
Kuya, you.
Yes.
sorry. No, the exposure. Like, no, because you know
Yeah.
what? Like, there's no accountant that's working 10 hours a day to get exposure in an office.
Yeah.
That's
And
true.
You know what I'm saying? So that's if I had the energy and the resources to be able to do that, to be advocate for something when it comes to artists, it would be that. Get your money, get paid, and don't let anybody just downplay whatever it is that you do.
To piggyback off that,
We've been talking about
it's
this for a long
very
time.
important.
Go, girl.
I am an advocate for talent. You guys know
Yes.
I will produce a great show and make sure everybody is heard. But at the same time, talent in business, right? So you have your talent people, musicians, artists, singers, rappers, whatever. They come on a concert or whatever. Oh, you guys get exposure. You get stage time. Okay, good. When it's your first, second, third show, great. But when you start, making your name for yourself in the circuit, you should be able to, know your business. So as an artist, it's so important to know your business as well. So you
Absolutely.
can't just roam around town and be like, oh, let me play guitar for you. I'm dope. But what is your value? How much is your time worth? How much is your talent? Not even so much talent. Anyone could be talented, right? Naturally play by ear or whatever. But what is your skill? What have you put into that talent? So there's a difference between talent and business. So you got to be in both if you want to succeed monetarily, right?
Absolutely.
When do you think is appropriate for you to do a gig without any money involved?
For your Lola.
I mean, if there's a value proposition behind it, like I do free gigs still.
It's okay. You don't have to go like this.
Well,
like
okay.
this.
No, but see, my free gigs are like if it's a Tuesday night and I got nothing else going on and and I'm gonna pick up some other work from it or I'm gonna network from it.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Then I look at that as paid practice or high pressure practice. Because as artists, we should, if we're not out gigging or we're not working, you should be at home working on your craft. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a situation like that is the perfect situation to be in to really work on your craft, but like to really do it, to really put your feet to the fire, to have other people in the room, to you know what I'm saying, for you to really realize, because there's nothing like playing out in front of people. You can be at home and practice whatever it is, and you got it down and blah, blah, blah. You get out in front of 10, 15, 20, 100 people, all that goes out the window.
It's all different.
So if there's a situation where you should take a gig, not get paid, it should be something like that, in my opinion.
But yeah, I'm a true advocate for talent, getting paid, because I know the value of rehearsal, practice, behind the scenes, all that work that goes into a production for a good show. So someone's getting paid, right? And yeah, art is art. It's subjective. Not everyone's going to come to your show, but those that are coming to the show, they know what the price that they're going to pay. So, to his point, like a lot of his gigs, it's like, oh, well, we have another DJ because there's so many in town. Yeah. So supply and demand kind of like outweighs what that is. But there are anomalies where you play guitar and you DJ. So your value is a little different.
Yeah.
So, go, brother.
Yes, snap them toes. Snap the toes. All right, you guys. So we're going to close that out. Let me know if you guys want to hear more about this topic. I know we're kind of running short on time. This could be a topic for like a whole day or something. But you guys want to go ahead and give out some information. How can we catch you guys?
So you can find me on social media, on Instagram mainly. It's Sugartone Music, and you can catch the store's Instagram Vintaged_LV. We're located on the second floor at the Container Park downtown, where the big centipede is that shoots out fire.
That was grasshopper.
Or grasshopper, the insect that shoots out fire. And then I'm around town 6-7 days a week. I'm playing, so I usually post my schedule on social media. But thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
I just want to applaud you guys. I kind of I just met you, right?
Oh, yes, yeah.
So he actually DJ'd at my party. Thank you, Tony. But no, I respect you. Thank you so much for coming here. I know time is short, and thank you. You are a humbled man, and I hope all your business prospers. In Jesus' name, sprinkle it, Lord.
Sprinkle it.
All right, Tony, they already know you, but go ahead, repeat yourself.
All right, that's it. Next week or 10 days.
Next Thursday.
April 29th. Thank you, Vintage LV, PHLV Radio, for sponsoring this event. PHLV will be out there. Michaela will be doing her worship service at 11 a.m. I will be hosting with JR Beatbox. Check out Vintage LV. They're going to be there as well. So cop some shirts. You guys have a great week. Thank you for having me, Michaela.
Thank you, guys. See you guys next time.
This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio.